Well, it looks like the dust has mostly settled in the dispute between Delta Airlines and IT company CrowdStrike. This allows us to give a fairly comprehensive summary on everything that happened. As you may remember, CrowdStrike's erroneous software update in July caused a near global level of disruption, impacting many airlines, hospitals, and emergency response systems. All in all, Forbes notes that about 8.5 million Windows devices were affected. For Delta Airlines, disruptions resulted in the cancellation of about 7,000 flights over 5 days. And so, for today's video, let's examine everything that happened to Delta as a result of the CrowdStrike event, why the carrier was hit harder than other airlines, and the damages incurred. It all started on July 19, 2024. As part of regular operations, CrowdStrike released a content configuration update for Windows. This is how the company CrowdStrike explained the failure. On July 19, 2024, a rapid response content update was delivered to certain Windows hosts, involving the new capability first released in February 2024. The sensor expected 20 input fields, while the update provided 21 input fields. In this instance, the mismatch resulted in an out-of-bounds memory read, causing a system crash. What end users experienced was the easily recognizable Windows blue screen of death, essentially the system's response when everything goes wrong. And so, as a result, devices and machines dependent on Windows were simply not functioning. Delta issued an official statement on July 22nd saying, "Upward of half of Delta's IT systems worldwide are Windows-based. The CrowdStrike error required Delta's IT teams to manually repair and reboot each of the affected systems, with additional time then needed for applications to synchronize and start communicating with each other." While the airline didn't offer too many details on software, David Bader, a professor of cybersecurity, told ABC News, "For a company such as Delta, they rely on countless partner services for everything from scheduling pilots and planes to providing meal service and snacks to allowing customers to select their seats. The CrowdStrike bug disrupted many of those critical services that keep the airline running at full capacity." Airline CEO Ed Bastian noted that in particular a crew tracking-related tool was affected and unable to effectively process the unprecedented number of changes triggered by the system shutdown. The official airline statement described it as a tool which, quote, "ensures all flights have a full crew in the right place at the right time," adding that it is, quote, "deeply complex and is requiring the most time and manual support to synchronize." In a legal letter to CrowdStrike, Delta's attorney David Bowles stated that approximately 60% of the airline's mission-critical applications and their associated data, including Delta's redundant backup systems, depend on the Microsoft Windows operating system and CrowdStrike. PC Mag noted that Delta also struggled to fully restore its systems as some of its impacted IT systems exist in, quote, "secure airport areas requiring government-mandated access clearance." The impact on passengers was heavy as the airline cancelled thousands of flights for several consecutive days. Travel writer Steve Stevens reported via social media that, quote-unquote, "little Delta refugee camps had popped up at the airline's Minneapolis St. Paul hub as passengers waited for flights. As you can see with his post, it was specific to Gate F, noting that there were even tents. No campfires yet, but that probably violates FAA regulations anyway, he said. This experience was shared by Delta customers all over the United States. An article by Kiro7 notes that one passenger stranded in Seattle had her and her family's flights cancelled multiple times over multiple days. At one point, passengers were left inside a plane waiting for pilots who never arrived. "No air circulation for an hour. My daughter was passing out. We had to splash water on her face to keep her conscious," she said. For this particular passenger, over $7,500 had to be spent because of the crisis, as the family paid for accommodations and searched for alternative methods of transportation. Another passenger told the media that hotels near the Seattle airport had increased their prices up to $625 a night. We could share more horror stories related to the CrowdStrike incident, but we're quite sure you already have a good sense of the frustration and chaos experienced by travelers. The airline stated that it would make things right for its customers, announcing travel waiver extensions, the right to refunds upon request, and issuing Sky Miles or a travel voucher based on disruption severity. Delta also said it would cover eligible expenses resulting from related flight disruptions, as well as provide meal vouchers, hotel accommodations where available, and ground transportation. Reimbursement of eligible expenses including hotels, meals, and ground transportation was also mentioned. When the airline's operations were restored to normal, it sent a letter to CrowdStrike through a lawyer alleging that it had lost around $550 million due to the disruptions, hinting that it would take legal action to recover its losses. CrowdStrike hit back, saying that its own CEO called a Delta board member within 4 hours of the incident on July 19th. A CrowdStrike spokesperson stated that the two companies' teams, quote, worked closely together within hours of the incident, with CrowdStrike providing technical support beyond what was available on the website. It was also revealed that CrowdStrike CEO George Kurtz offered on-site assistance to Delta CEO Ed Bastian, but received no response. Delta later told CrowdStrike that no help was needed. Attorney Michael Karlinski, defending CrowdStrike against a lawsuit, stated, "Should Delta pursue this path, Delta will have to explain to the public, its shareholders, and ultimately a jury why CrowdStrike took responsibility for its actions swiftly, transparently, and constructively, while Delta did not." For its part, Microsoft blamed Delta Airlines and claimed that the carrier's aging technology caused the airline to recover far slower than rival airlines. Microsoft also claimed Delta turned down help that was offered. An email said to have been sent from Microsoft's CEO to Delta's Ed Bastian reportedly said, "In fact, it is rapidly becoming apparent that Delta likely refused Microsoft's help because the IT system it was most having trouble restoring, its crew tracking and scheduling system, was being serviced by other technology providers such as IBM, because it runs on those providers' systems and not Microsoft Windows or Azure." And, well, by the end of August, no official lawsuit had been filed, and CrowdStrike's CEO had gone public to say that his company was quote-unquote willing and open to find a resolution. And so it would seem that a resolution has been found, as several weeks have passed without any further news. Of course, maybe by the time you watch this, some new development will appear. Nonetheless, in a filing on September 12th, Delta stated, "Full year 2024 earnings per share is expected to be at or above the midpoint guidance of $6 to $7, excluding 45-cent impact from the IT outage on September quarter earnings per share." Most people have translated this to mean that the outage won't make much of a dent in the airline's annual profit projections. When it comes to lawsuits filed by passengers against Delta, we're guessing that the airline will try to settle these in order to put things back on track. And so that's everything we could find relating to the CrowdStrike issue and its impact on Delta Airlines. Were you impacted by the global IT outage? How do you think Delta handled things? Share your thoughts by leaving a comment. Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com.